Would
Yeah,
you?
so we've been asked to participate in a study through the Pennsylvania Rural and Small Schools Association, to which we belong. And it's what PARS is it's an advocacy group. It's a group of similar school districts that experience similar problems, and they pull their resources together, share ideas, advocate politically, those kinds of things. And one thing that they were doing is they're working with Pittsburgh and Bradford to study teacher reasons that teachers either enter, leave, and find satisfaction in the profession. Seems like it's a timely thing that I'd like to explore because, we have had a recent attrition of so many teachers. We had 3 resignations in the last week. So it is something that we need to look into. I mean, I think I know the answers why, but I think having an actual scientific study as to what makes teachers happy, why teachers are getting into the field, why they're staying, and what their level of satisfaction is something that would be worthwhile, something that we could use to recruit, to retain, and to at least have better knowledge of when we're hiring and dealing with teachers and other professionals in the business. So all of these, any study done in our school needs that board approval by policy. So I thought it was a good thing to bring to this committee. As the deadline is approaching, the deadline is actually going to be here before we'll have another academic committee meeting where I typically would bring this up, or policy and personnel where I would bring this up. But because it's information we could then share, I thought outreach might.
I think that is wonderful to have for any time, whether not just right now because of the high turnover rate that most schools are going through, but in order to incentivize and prepare ourselves and cushion ourselves in the future.
Absolutely. Now, and we won't be able to drill down, from what I understand, we won't be able to drill down to see who our people are because it'll be an anonymous study.
Right.
But it will be school districts that are similar to ours because they're all going to be rural or small schools. You're not going to get any Pittsburgh data or any Philadelphia data that will muddy the results a little bit. So it should be applicable.
Did their letter to you say it was approved by their institutional review board at Pitt?
I didn't see that, but I can check.
You might want to check on that before you give full approval.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do that.
Yeah, the researcher should have institutional review board.
I will absolutely check that. I didn't.
I'm guessing they do.
I'm guessing so too, but I'll be sure before I get into it. But with the committee's permission, I'd like to put it on the agenda next week. I'll answer that question between now and then. And
Sounds like
we
a
can
wonderful
approve it.
thing to put on the board.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have one question on road.
Yeah.
How do they get our teachers access? Through the mail, or we have to give them the address, or how?
I'm guessing it's probably email,
Okay.
but I don't know the answer to that just yet. I mean, I was in the email here. Let me find that.
So that would be voluntary though on our teachers, and if they choose to
100%
participate,
voluntary.
okay.
Yep, they're not going to force it. That was in there. It's 100% voluntary. They're not going to disclose any information that the teachers don't want. But that was in the email. I didn't
Okay.
see
I'd rather not go send an email than call, then knock on the door and go, do you have an answer?
And that would be good to know, Bob. I see it does say to new and former teachers.
Yeah.
So they're going to need email address, like personal email addresses. So
Yep.
that would be a question to ask, is how they're going to,
For sure.
How they
Yeah.
gonna reach out to those
yeah.
teachers?
I mean, they're the ones that they would want to get the answers from for sure.
Correct. Why did you leave?
But how are they going to
Absolutely.
get,
I think they'll probably contact the last email through the school and then go from there. I don't know.
yeah,
But aren't they in,
because the school would need permission from
Yeah.
them to send their, if you
Correct.
have email of former teachers.
Right,
We'd have to find.
you're just sending
Let me
them,
find those answers. I'll find those 2 answers for you.
probably sending them a letter letting them know that they may get contacted if they were calling for this call. We won't, yeah.
Yeah, because that would never provide somebody's personal email address without their permission.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, we're not allowed by law.
Yeah.
So
Do you do any type of exit interview?
we do.
You gather anything?
Miss Cinda asked for that about what, 2 years ago we started doing that?
Yeah.
So yeah, we do exit interviews. So all these 3 that are leaving here, well, 2 of the 3, the other ones are gone. Well, we'll be doing here. But the other, we do it over the phone with her even. But while we're talking about it, we did have 2 more resignations within like last Thursday. A special education position in elementary school and one of our BCIT teachers at the junior high. Both of them are going to places that I believe are closer to home. So one's going out east and one's going up north to.
Yeah, but there's such a high turnover rate of that category of teacher. It's sad.
It really is.
And
It's
it's
going
not
to get worse.
easy to replace them either.
No, especially the niche ones like BCIT. It'll be tough to find a quality long-term sub for that. So, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'll answer those questions. Is it research board approved? How are we doing this? Is it voluntary? I'll make sure those answers are all yes, and then I'll put it on the agenda for next week.
All right.
Okay. The Excellence in Education Award, we have a meeting tomorrow with Mark Hilliard and the other superintendents from the county here in this very room, and to talk about what this launch will look like this year. So the world, we're giving feedback to the Chamber of Commerce on how the event went, how the nomination process went, how the selection process went, just to try to tighten it up and make sure that everybody's doing exactly the same thing. Any feedback you all have on the event itself is welcome.
I have one. I was very disappointed in the teacher that won the award. They really didn't speak of why she won the award.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she spoke with a speech for 20-some minutes, but I wish they'd have said why she ranked higher than the other winners, you know. They never did. They really didn't. Not that I heard anyway. Maybe I missed it. But I didn't hear it.
That whole thing I thought was unfortunate because we know how the students were picked every month. And then at the end of the year, the guidance counselors picked, all the guidance counselors picked one student.
There was
I
a
don't
committee.
remember.
There was a committee of teachers and got counselors and administrators that picked which student went on as far as the.
What Jim Struzzi said, or what the verdict said, was it was hard picking the finalist teachers and hard picking the finalist students. And then Mr. Spatafor had a real hard time picking the winner. It should have been luck of the draw. I mean, they should have had a raffle or draw names from a hat because it.
Yeah, the way it was explained to me was there
really
was.
stank when the one guy out of that whole group of girls from that one, the one guy.
One
Yeah,
car.
And we were already saying, look, it's all girls except one guy. It's going to stink if he wins, and he won the car.
yeah. The way it was explained to me was there's a committee of people that are not from here that helped that, and Mr. Spatafor found out right before that night that who the people were, just so he could pronounce the names correctly. But I will look into that.
It needs to be a little bit more transparent because it didn't look,
Transparency is good.
it didn't look good.
No.
It didn't look good at all.
I think too, it'd be nice, like, I get the student side of it, but I also think there's a lot more people involved in educating kids than just teachers. I think it would be nice to include as part of that opportunity for educators to have a custodian who's very involved and does great things for his school to also be nominated as well. I mean, I'm not, maybe you create a separate category for it, or you just include them as
I think
part of the
maybe
education system that benefits our kids.
like a lesser not give everybody a car. I would think it'd be great to say, you know, this custodian did a great job. Here's a $25 gift certificate for Haas's or whatever. I mean, it just seemed very, here's your car, everybody go home. And it was, it wasn't as, I don't know how to full of promises I'd hoped. Put it that way.
So more celebration of the accomplishments of these people at the actual event.
Right.
What I understand, maybe I'm wrong, but I was told they were going to do a video of each teacher. But the one school did not get their videos in, so they scratched that idea. And I think before they award, it would have been nice to see each nominee have something. If they did their own video or something,
Or put
at
it in
least
the
we knew
bulletin,
what they,
yeah.
It's a good idea.
you know, were up for award for. I think it was United didn't get theirs in, so that's what I heard, and they scratched it. I thought that would have been a great idea to see each nominee do a little video.
Their new director of education will make sure that it gets in the next time.
We'll make
I thought that
sure-
would have been a nice idea. We just sat there and seen
Yeah,
You know, each nominee do a short video, 2-3 minute video.
I think it'd be great. That's a great
you know,
idea.
and then-
Wouldn't be hard to put one together.
No,
And even those finalist students,
sure, they can
to
put a
see
little
what-
video together and put
Yeah,
it
they
on there.
do.
At least when you're sitting in the crowd, you know why they were
Right.
nominated and why they won.
Yeah, I'd love to see some of the students go up and say, you know what, I worked with the Hillman Cancer Center as an intern over the summer, and this is why they got nominated, and they worked on, this at their school, and
Yeah.
like Avery did the national thing, to have that put forward.
100%. That's my piece of feedback was being someone that was on that committee that was trying to pick from those students. Some had a whole page written about them, and some had a
Oh, yeah,
sentence.
that was sad.
And then we have to maybe communicate, like, you need to really highlight some of the things, because,
What are the criteria? Like, what's
yeah,
the-
you know what I mean? It didn't seem, you went with the one who had the more things written about them, because, and it might have sold some of the other kids short. So I think, and maybe that's true with teachers too. So we have to, tighten
Maybe,
that up a little bit.
maybe the nominating for here, the students be, the ones that have like a sentence, call them in, talk to them, find out a little bit more about them first.
Yeah, we could put a compilation video of that
Yeah.
together.
I think
Ask them
as
some
far as
questions.
dinner and that, I think it was very well done. I liked that they did the Kowalczyk Center. It was nice there.
But yeah.
I would change some of the other things.
from a former catering point of view,
It was not
well
good,
done.
no.
When you get there and the salad has been sitting there for 5 hours, it was wilted, looked like
Oh,
wilted
geez.
fish.
Yeah, it was,
Boy, there was nothing good about this night. I'm hearing there was
Oh, I was,
2 cars given away.
yeah, for the 2 people that won the cars, I think it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I was monumentally disappointed, but I thought it's first year.
right,
It will get better,
yeah.
and
And
it
that's-
will get better.
Absolutely. I talked to Mark today. He was definitely committed to that. He's aware of some of the feedback he got out there. So that's what he's asking for. So he's asking for us to be brutally honest and say what was good, what needs addressed, so that we can make it better this year. So
Yeah, and that's the only way that, because if you don't find out what you did, what happened, what other people think, you can't improve. It's just gonna do the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity.
yes, ma'am.
I know, it's one thing I know.
Every day.
Well, if you're driving home tonight and you think of something that, I wanted to say that, send me an email before tomorrow at 2:00 so I can get it on the
Yeah.
the list. Okay? But we will be launching that again, one student and one teacher again will win a car in the county, which is, fantastic. So, despite all the feedback that we gave was kind of negative, you got to thank the Spatafours in the chamber for putting this together.
Yeah. It's
It's
amazing.
an outstanding,
Yeah.
outstanding gift, so, in recognition of the hard work they do.
The good part that they did was they did recognize the students and they did recognize the teachers. But like Cinda said, there was only one boy and lots of girls. And that,
That boy won the car.
it hurt. I mean, I'm sure he deserved it, but at the same time, there really wasn't much diversity. There wasn't much, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that only one boy did well in out of all the schools.
Yep.
Anyway,
Okay.
and then we have the Literacy Lighthouse event.
Literacy Lighthouse event is an event that's being held in Pittsburgh that we were invited to speak to because our school district is kind of on the, again, we've kind of been the first school district to go forward with this. We've been invited down to talk about our struggles and our successes and our barriers to success as far as launching a program based on the science of reading. So we've been invited. I don't think they're paying for it. I think it's going to have to be either me and Justin or Justin and, maybe one of the teachers or someone to go down there and just sit on a panel and answer some questions in the Pittsburgh. It's a Pittsburgh Act 80 Day,
Okay,
and they're bringing in teachers and directors of ed and stuff that just have a question and answer period with some leaders. So it's an honor to be invited, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention just to say, look, this is something that we might participate in, and we should be proud of it. I mean, it's an honor to be asked for sure.
may I suggest that we have somebody there to do kind of a media expose it, take pictures, and mention in our newsletter and,
Absolutely.
because the more we advertise how well we're doing with the reading and the problems and how we're going forward, the more transparency we have. And the less questions parents go, what is going on? So,
Absolutely. That's a very good idea.
I
I'll make
mean-
sure it happens.
I've got a child that's going to Point Park College. I'm okay to go down there for a day.
Yeah. I'll see if we can get you in the invite list.
That would be great.
But
My
the last thing,
One of
I'm
the
sorry.
last things to do for Lord.
Right, yeah. The last thing that I have is not on your copy, but it is on the posted agenda online, is the ISD Foundation. Mr. Earhart reached out and said that he'd like to have this conversation. I agree, it's time that we have this conversation. Jared and I have a meeting with the Community Foundation for the Alleghenies on September 11th or September 10th,
I want to say 14.
soon in September. But we're going to talk about that process.
14.
The 14th. Basically, what we want to do is there's no reason that this community can't have a viable endowment fund that can pay for some of these things. Like later tonight, we're going to have this family come and talk about how hard they've been working to raise money for a playground, that a foundation that was operating well could simply write a check for, and send off. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, right? We got to make sure that we do it well. We're going to have to make sure that the community foundation is the right place for it. We're going to have to make sure we put a board together of not us, but other people that might be good at checking things and making sure things are on the up and up. And then we have to do a lot of fundraising, right? A boatload of fundraising. But I think there's ways that we can do fundraising while we celebrate other things. Mr. Earhart was talking about the ISD Hall of Fame, which was an idea that I think you and Sean Moran had, which I think is a great idea and we could run it just like, I don't know if you're familiar with Baseball Hall of Fame or Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or Football Hall of Fame, but once you're out of the game for 5 years, you qualify to be voted into this. And again, we'd have to put a board together and we'd have to, just like the excellence in education, we'd have to have some criteria for nominations. But then we put together a recognition for someone who did a great job, whether it's a teacher, a custodian, principal, community member, someone who did excellent things for the district for a long period of time and really stood out. We can invite them and their family, get people to come to the event, maybe have basket raffles at the event, a Chinese auction, whatever it might be, have a band, have some fun with it, and then proceeds from all that go right into the foundation. So we get to celebrate our community, bring people together, and at the same time, raise money for this cause. And I feel like if we did like a summer event, a fall event, and a spring event, it'd be enough to generate some decent fundraising every year without being completely overwhelming. I will tell you that in other districts, in other organizations, they do hire full-time people that this is their job to just raise money for these things.
Mhm.
And they raise hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, if not millions of dollars. We are not going to be able to raise hundreds of thousands or millions if it's us doing it, in the in-between times. But we could raise tens of thousands, I think, if we get a committee together with, the right ideas.
I nominate Ron.
For the committee, so moved.
I think it's something we need to really do, because I never knew we had a foundation. I really didn't.
Yep.
Till the last meeting, and said we have one. It's news to me.
And right now, from my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, most of the foundation money, we run the EICT money that comes in from people's taxes goes into that foundation. We're using it to pay for dual enrollment, which is great. That's an awesome thing to pay for and necessary, I think, but it's one example of what we could be doing if we had some concerted efforts. If you don't pay for dual
I
enrollment,
thought donations were being given by some of the banks for the dual enrollment.
they are through the EITC.
Okay, all right.
So the banks,
Okay.
instead of paying taxes, do that, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Latrobe has millions in theirs.
I'm sorry?
I think Latrobe has millions in their foundation.
I know that Hollidaysburg has millions in theirs too. Like they put a whole fence around their field through their foundation. It's big projects they're able to pay with. So it would take us a while to get there, but
Yeah.
It'd be good to talk
We don't
to some
start,
of
we
these
never will.
districts. See what they did right, what they did
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh, I
I
can
know
make some
Penns
comments.
Manor has, I think, enacted one. Yeah.
I nominate Terry.
When my daughter was going to
Present on to the
WPSD,
district.
they needed a fundraiser, and so I got some plastic ornaments from Michael's, and for like 40 cents an ornament total cost for me, I was able to make the ornaments, little ornaments with their school colors and things on the outside. Got them cheerleader bags for each of the cheerleaders and a jacket for each of the cheerleaders. It was just, we sold them like $5 and $8 a piece. I mean, that kind of money just really does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Even just educating people on that EITC.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of, I don't know who all qualifies for it. I know individuals qualify. So all businesses,
Anyone who pays
For
taxes, I
profit.
believe, right?
you know, anyway, we don't need that
Yeah,
answer.
like anybody I would imagine who ends
I mean-
up paying taxes in the state of Pennsylvania. The state of Pennsylvania limits how much can be go through that program every single year because they lose
Right.
money by it. But
Yeah, I mean, just educating businesses and people about that.
and we have to have a foundation open in order to receive that money because it has to go to a 501(c), which is not us. No school district is, so that's a big push why foundations went into effect when that program hit. So, but a lot of the other things that go through our foundation are like memorial scholarships where a family will call and say, hey, I would like to offer so much money and a golfer every year will get a scholarship. And we usually say, look, I don't want you to put money here at the district and, you know, it gets forgotten or something gets overlooked. The foundation is really where you need to go. So like under the Indiana Area School District umbrella, there are multiple scholarships that families have put in place to memorialize somebody.
And their endowments, I guess.
Yes, like they're out of our control. It's not the district forgetting about them. The foundation runs them, and the family awards it.
Like, we don't even know what the endowments are. I mean, you would think the administration may know, but then do they run to where the principal never goes away? They can only take so much money out of each endowment so that it's perpetual?
It depends. It depends who set it up and who didn't. I mean, it's up to the family. Like, we don't get to sit here and we don't pick the person. Our guidance office, mainly at the high school, deals with, like, lets the kids know that it's there, and the families who started the scholarship pick it. So,
Um,
And the different endowments probably specify what they want to use.
yes, it's up to the families. I mean, families want to set it up, but we kind of point them in that direction because it's more of a sustaining type thing where the district isn't having 10 scholarships set up with 10 different pots of money and we're trying to manage all of that. But
on a tangent of that, I'd like to, my old alma mater has Amazon wish lists for their teachers they put out that they want things for their classrooms and whatnot. And it helps get the alumni and the different parents to be able to contribute to the school in a not direct way, but still be able to support the students and the teachers. I'd like to see if we can do that here.
Our teachers do it.
Huh?
Our teachers do that. A lot of them do.
Some of them do, but not, I think if we made it more, accepted and public, they might try to do more.
You have to be friends with them on Facebook. You have to see their posts.
Yeah.
That's where I see them, and that's where I always buy a book. Any of my former students that are on there, I buy them a book for their classroom, but there's
Yeah.
a ton of, a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe if we put it in the newsletters or something that, if people want to contribute to the teacher's wish list, that here's a Amazon wish list for them or
I
something.
don't know how you make it, how they make it public.
Can the wish list go on our
Outside of-
website?
I don't even know, are you allowed to do that?
We
I
have it
don't
on our
know. I'll
website?
look into it though. I'll find out if it's legal.
I
I
mean,
can't imagine it's not if you put it on Facebook. I don't know.
But
Not
it's
all of our
not-
teachers make like wish lists.
Are those
But
donations?
only some do.
It's great.
With the board accepting them?
to me, it's more donations.
Maybe we
to
should
the
have a Ben
individual,
Franklin
I don't
wish
know,
list.
like unless,
On
you know what I
individual
mean, if
teachers.
somebody could put it on Facebook and get a donation.
make it so
I don't know
that-
how, teachers bring their own stuff in all the time.
But if we put it on the website.
I know,
I think we could- is there a link to
Resin,
Amazon?
why should this
Just send
teacher's
it.
kids miss out on it?
Please
Right.
go
I think
here
that
to find any
my
Indiana
understanding
area school district
of
people
when I
may
first
have
started
wish
Penn
lists.
Franklin was that because they didn't want parents to have to go out and buy supplies or anything like that, so the school has provided everything, like we provide the pencils and the erasers and the crayons.
But that
But
doesn't mean that the non-parent people in town wouldn't contribute
I
if there was a
understand,
wish.
right, okay.
I
So,
mean-
I mean, I know,
I've got a friend Clark who donated, this one teacher put on a wish list that she wanted a couple of boxes to put some supplies in. He went and bought her all new bookshelves for her classroom, and he's not a student there anymore, he doesn't have any kids there anymore. But dang, if I don't put wish lists on his Facebook page, he's got money, he could afford it. Even though I'm not a teacher, but I mean, I think that, you know, it might be nice for the people that want to donate something to the school and be part of that.
Do we ask parents to bring like some boxes of tissues and wipes and
We don't, it, a lot of teachers have, they'll put like little sticky notes or little cutout dies and say, they'll be out on back to school night and if the parent picks one up that says, like, oh, I'll bring in some extra Kleenexes or glue sticks, then the parent can do that. Otherwise, the schools have provided everything for the students.
We do the COVID, the teachers really like the bins that we started with COVID because of the fact that kids are changing classes and things a little bit at junior high. So they just have like this little plastic tote, I wanna call it, that's just a little bit of a shoebox. And has all their supplies in it and their Chromebook can fit in it. And that's a nice way for them to go from room to room at the junior high when we have to switch classes a little bit and stuff. So we would just, the teachers give me a list at the end of the year of what they want in those totes and we recycle what we can from the year before, like whiteboards. We recycle those every year, like all the whiteboards, clean them up, put them back in kind of thing. But we buy new pencils and those kinds of things. And what I've been doing is I have to buy pencils for like PSSA, so I take those pencils and I use those for the bins, and then I buy new pencils for PSSA, so we kind of, and that keeps the highlighters fresh too, that we need to do for that. And then nothing really goes to waste.
Right.
So that's been kind of my
Yeah, I was
process.
just thinking that it might be the alumni that doesn't have a kid in school or doesn't have, know which teachers are in the schools, you know, they might want to donate to the outdoor classroom and do it be,
I don't know much about how the wish lists work, I've never
I'll have to look
but
into.
I'm wondering if it could be, the wish list could be displayed on Amazon instead of, because I know it could go on Facebook, but where else can you see them is my question.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
that's the only place I ever see them is on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I'm not on the other, I don't know if they can post them on Instagram or, I'm not on the other social media. So I'm not sure.
yeah, they.
Well, that's where I'd like to see if we could get the foundation big enough. I know Lake Trail, what they do is a teacher can put in for a grant through the foundation. If she has a special project and they give up $1,800 a year.
Junior Valley does the
That's
same
why I
thing.
wish we could get it big enough where we could have that, we don't have to worry about
Yeah, that would be nice. I
My
think.
mom actually sits on the board in Ligonier if you had any questions.
it. See?
Yeah, I do have some questions, so I'll reach out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not gonna be a tremendous amount, where you have a golf outing, the Hall of Fame event, and then come up with one other, you know, kind of like a carnival or something like that, where, you know, we get the kids out, have fun,
If we
and
put the
And maybe-
principal-
Probably you do it on our website even too, where you could have a tick up there.
Yep.
You know,
donate now.
foundation where somebody wants to donate for a tax write-off,
Yeah,
they can hit that online.
they become a gold member sponsor, and
Yeah.
you get, you know, whatever you get, and we gotta work all that out, but
Just with your Hall of Fame, you might want to consider partnering with them with the high school already does that Wall of Fame where they recognize the former graduates and things like that through the Hall of Fame. Those pictures are put up on the wall there.
yeah.
And that's an outside committee that does all that. It has nothing, you know, to do with, I mean, it's a town people that meet for that committee.
Yeah.
Marion Center does the same thing, I don't know about that.
So you might want to think that as part of what you're doing.
Well, it's a shame the teachers never get recognized. If they taught here for 25 years
Right,
and they retire, whoever recognized them? You know, it's a
I
shame.
mean, aside from the blurb at the board meeting going, yeah,
Right.
but
You know, thank you.
Yeah, it's not just
The
teachers,
district used to sponsor a retirement dinner every year. It was really very nice. I'm kind of disappointed and the teachers are disappointed that that doesn't happen.
what's that?
The retirement dinner that they used to have.
Yeah, we talked about that.
A
We
retirement-
do talk about that, but did that generate money though? Because that's a great idea.
No, she was just saying that our retirees aren't recognized or
right,
honored or.
except for the blurb at the,
We have had some conversations about possibly bringing that back, but
I think it,
We haven't got through some.
Well, I think the Hall of Fame you're talking about is a graduate student goes on and becomes a doctor,
Well,
and then they get on, but a
Right,
teacher gets a whole career here.
Right, no, but I'm just saying, you might wanna do it in conjunction with that, so
Right.
that you're not doing double, you
Right.
know what I mean? You're gonna recognize some graduates and some teachers, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
You can do it in one big
But
event.
that's what I'm thinking, yes, instead of having two separate, I just want to make sure you get that, yeah. As part of your event, you might want to include that part
That
of
was
it
just
too.
a big.
back when we did the lapel pins, for outreach, we had talked about yard signs, we had come up with designs for anybody who wanted to put a yard sign in their yard to say school pride or whatever.
Right.
Good.
Did that
And
just,
like I would,
did we put that in the circular file?
I'm not
Or
sure.
was that
I
something that-
don't know. I will have to call my predecessor and ask if he knows what file
and
that's
it's,
in.
for me, it's only
Right.
just.
Because I would like to at least get that done,
Go back 12
before
months.
November, before fall, when the sports really kick in and.
I think if we decide to do
Also,
building.
that might be a way we could raise money. If you get the signs made for cheap,
All of those teachers.
buy a sign, for twice the cost, and we put half of it in the endowment fund. There's a lot of different
And
ideas.
some teachers like to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Sounds good.
all right, that's all we have.
I guess I'll let Terry start his committee meeting now.
All right, Randy, we're ready to start for meeting number 2.
Like the little pictures.